The concussion conversation is building in this country, changing the game of football for the better.
Yeah, helmets are the last line of defense when it comes to head injuries, but our professor is putting helmets first. And David DeGuzman joins us with the role equipment plays in the battle against concussions.
Yeah, you know, the fight has been very messy at times. We've seen lawsuits against the NFL, the NCAA, new laws and rules to protect high school athletes, and then even parents thinking twice about letting their kid take the field. But in a story you'll see only on WHSV, the progress regarding helmets is only beginning. It's the health topic that's drawn attention from the gridiron to the courtroom.
I've seen a lot of my teammates and a lot of my opponents die over the last few years.
All the way to Capitol Hill.
I think the big issue for us and for every player at every level and in every sport, as was pointed out here, is to make sure they're aware of the issues that come when you have a concussion.
But one Virginia Tech professor is fighting concussions. It's a battle lasting over a decade in the laboratory.
It's going to impact the head.
Stefan Duma works with the Hokies football team, looking to improve the way helmets can protect against concussions since 2003.
We've done, over 10,000 experiments in the past few years, just dropping tests. I mean, if you think every single helmet we test 120 times, there's a lot of helmets out there. So it's a tremendous amount of effort, but it has a huge impact.
Duma developed a helmet rating system in 2011, evaluating different models and how they protect against concussions based on lab testing and research done on the field, where sensor technology is used.
So the on-field work gives us the exposure. So by instrumenting the Virginia Tech football team, we have a very good idea how often the players are hitting the head, what direction, what severity. The most striking thing was how different the helmets were.
Helmets were originally designed to protect athletes from skull fractures. Concussions weren't even on the minds of manufacturers over a decade ago when they designed helmets like this one. We gave Professor Duma one of the older helmets on the market, and it didn't take long for the expert to give his opinion.
So this is a one-star helmet. It's the Rydell VSR4. This was the workhorse of helmets going into the 90s, 2000. But what people don't realize is it's 20 years old.
What concerned Duma 3 years ago is that this old model was widely used throughout football.
Thomas, end zone, touchdown.
When we came out with our first ratings in 2011, half of Virginia Tech, half of college, half of NFL had this helmet in 2011. It was surprising. My first phone call was to our team physician and head athletic trainer, and because I knew our football team had half of them, the VSR4s. And it was a quick conversation. Okay, we're getting rid of these helmets and we're buying the 5-star helmets.
Manufacturers responded to the research. In 2011, only one helmet on the market had a 5-star rating. Today, that number has grown to 9, giving high school coaches in the Valley a better selection. Chris Dodson coaches Spotswood High School's football team. The program has already replaced a majority of the team's helmets.
Our big key was to get into the same helmet for everybody as much as possible. Now we're at the point this year where we're 85% in the Rydell's 360s. So I think we're using the highest technology helmet that we can use at this point, and we're putting people in great equipment. Accidents are going to happen, but if you can put them in the safest equipment out there and you can educate them to the best, then you got a chance to eliminate a lot of that.
At Moorfield High School in West Virginia, head coach Josh C. is using his budget to protect players.
I took it upon myself that if my kid ever played here, that I wanted them in the best gear, and I've taken our hometown boys and I put them in the best gear that we can afford. And we're up over 40 helmets now. I'm proud of it. That's one of my things that I tell parents.
Back in the lab, Duma knows his work isn't done yet. His next priority is studying younger levels of football.
So right now we don't know enough about youth brains. We don't understand brain injury in the 7, 8-year-old like we understand it in a 20-year-old. It's really an unknown what's happening to the developing brain, what levels it takes to cause injury, that we just don't know yet.
Duma is also exploring helmets in other sports, including hockey and lacrosse. As for football, he sees the sport evolving as the concussion debate continues.
People say, football's going to go away. I think this is just the next evolution of football. It's not going to go away. It's immensely popular. But the game's changing for the better. You're taking away the head impacts. That's good.
So I have here 2 helmets, guys. This green one is the older helmet, a Rydell VSR4. Rydell actually doesn't make these anymore. This is from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's still being used around. And the shiny gray one is the newer Rydell Revolution Speed helmet. And on the outside, you can just tell the difference. The VSR4, a smoother shell, while the Speed has a much more complicated design. This is adding stiffness so it can handle a broad range of impacts on the sides there. Then inside, you can see the padding. Well, you can see here, much thicker than this one. That means it'll absorb hits better. So the goal obviously is to phase out these older helmets for these newer 5-star rated ones.
Really interesting. Okay, thank you so much, David. And of course, you can check out more of David's story on the only on WHSV section of our website, WHSV.com. We've got more interviews and videos and stats and statistics, all kinds of good stuff.